So today, I'm fucking aerating the golf course. Director of golf out there pushing a fucking machine around. I'm not above that. Never above that. I always like to do it. It's kind of therapeutic, I don't have to answer the phone or listen to any shit. I just go out there, toss my headphones in, jam some tunes, and push the aerator around. So I'm leaving, and I'm like done. I'm like, yo, I gotta go. I'm going home. Nuggets playoffs tonight. Podcast. Like, I got shit to do. And so I'm taking the aerator back on the road that is now a construction road to the maintenance shed. My life flashed before my eyes, dude. These two fucking giant cats that, whatever they are.
Pieces of machinery, not actual felines.
As I'm walking, are just driving right to me, going about 40 miles an hour. They get to about 100 feet and start skidding. And I'm like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
This is it. Nothing for me. I won't get to see what happens in this Nuggets playoffs. I
don't know if it's going to be worth seeing, but I'd rather see it than not see it.
I won't get to do our hole-in-one challenge tomorrow.
True. That's going to be a blast.
Yeah, we're gonna make one. I know we are.
We're definitely going to make one.
But welcome to Big Drive Energy. I am your host at Big Drive, Spence, here with my brother Mitchell. Big Drive Mitch, rocking the Nuggets stuff. As we know, Nuggets playoff game tonight.
Also, the brand new clean Imperial Spring Valley hat, Valley of Fun. Gorgeous.
Love the Imperial stuff. Just like our DNVR golf hat. Pretty fire white with the black robe. Just super clean.
Super clean.
We got a lot to talk about today. A fun golf tournament this past weekend. Jordan Spieth winning again. We got an interesting story. I don't know if any of you heard of it when you were watching the tournament, but Morgan Hoffman has quite the path back, not only to the PGA Tour, but now back to the PGA Tour, kind of facing some pressure like some guys have earlier this year where they have to win or have to get a certain place and, without ties and all that stuff to continue their tour card. And then since it's NBA playoff time and we're having some great first round games, the Boston-Brooklyn game was a banger. Nuggets came out with a stinker, but we know they're back tonight. I'm not worried about them. We're gonna give you guys NBA teams as professional golfers. So each NBA playoff team and an extra special pick just because we hate both this team and this player together. So we got an extra special pick, so there's going to be the 16 plus one. So let's hop right in. Let's start with a little Jordan Spieth. Pretty impressive tournament. First of all, this tournament, so super low key, right? Week after the Masters. Pretty stacked field, but the golf course is phenomenal.
All the golfers love RBC. It's at Hilton Head Island. Harbortown at Hilton Head. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'm just saying the actual name of
Harbor
the golf
Head
course.
at Hilton Head, or Harbortown at Hilton Head, the RBC Heritage. The golf course is phenomenal. It's highly regarded as one of the best courses on tour. It definitely is demanding off the tee. You got to hit your irons well. You got to put the ball in the fairway. And even when you put the ball in the fairway, I think we've talked about this course before, but even being in the fairway is not good enough. Like, you have to be on the proper side of the fairway because there's so much aged vegetation and old growth. I'm really into grass and trees and shit. Maybe it's like me buying a house last year. I love mowing my lawn. I love fertilizing it, trimming the trees, everything. That's my jam. So I get really into foliage now.
Big foliage guy. You like going through the Home Depot on a Saturday morning and strolling through
there's nothing,
the flower
nothing
spot.
better than the smell of the flowers and fertilizer section at Home Depot, and the smell of mulch. Ooh, fresh mulch is pretty tough to top. But yeah, there's just these massive trees out at God, why can I not?
Harbortown.
At Harbortown. I keep wanting to say Hilton Head, the town that it's in, at Harbortown. And it just makes the course really challenging for a specific type of player, which makes it even more surprising that Jordan Spieth won because his ball striking has been bad. It's gotten better, but his swing just looks like shit. I don't enjoy watching him. I have to be honest, I never really enjoyed watching him play golf just because he's really whiny anyways. I've never been that guy that has enjoyed watching people bitch at their caddies and blame bad lies and stuff, basically.
Even though you do it all the time.
I do it, but I would never I would never blame another human being.
Do as I say, not as I do. Is that
a little bit? But that's my problem. Is like I would never look at my caddy and be like, "You gave me the wrong club." You know what I mean? That if you don't feel comfortable with that club or that was the wrong shot, like just eat it. Just take it on the chin. Realize you hit a bad shot and move on to the next hole. Kind of like we talked about with who was I giving shit to the other week, or Tiger, about every time he hits a bad shot, it's his back. Every time Jordan Spieth hits a bad shot, it's his caddy, it's everything else, and I just don't love that. So I have to preface it with that. But his swing is just, it's moving from a technical standpoint, and I know there's a lot of teachers, like one guy I follow very closely, Shaheen Nachavani, this dude up in Montreal, who is slowly growing a very large stable of PGA Tour Canada, Korn Ferry Tour, and now PGA Tour and PGA Tour or Champions Tour players. He teaches a lot of tour guys, a lot of really good ball strikers, and even DP World Tour players. Yannick Paul, CU product, is on the DP World Tour this year. He has European Tour, DP World Tour status. So Shaheen has tweeted a few things about Jordan Spieth's swing and how much better of a position he was in at the top 4 or 5 years ago at his peak than he is right now. Basically, he's trying to manufacture an over-the-top move so the club doesn't get stuck behind him. But aesthetically, it's ugly. It doesn't look good. And it's kind of just an odd-looking, like, rehearsal. I just don't love it in general, and I don't think it's really done much for him, in all honesty. So good for him. Like, obviously, and the fact that he didn't putt very well and still got it done, he hit the ball very well this week. So a little bit surprising for me with what he's done with his swing, because I just don't like it at all.
Yeah, I think one of his quotes was, "I won this week without a putter." And you would have never, whether or not you like his swing or whether or not he's moving in the right direction, he would have never said that. Even when he was one of the hottest players in the world back in 2015, 2016, he would have never won a tournament without being able to putt.
Yeah, and that's his thing, is putting 100%. That's when he was really good, was when it felt like he could make every 20-footer he looked at. So the fact he won without a putter, and then he obviously missed that, I think it was in the final round on like the 8th or one of the middle, or was it? I'm sorry, was it Saturday?
It was Saturday, because his wife actually made a comment to him Sunday morning about it.
Oh, okay, about the 18-incher he missed. I mean, 18 inches is really long, so I don't know what she's talking about.
If she wants more than 18 inches, then she's got to go to a weird place.
The Jordan Spieth's not your guy. But yeah, that was shocking, and it is kind of crazy too when shit like that happens, and you realize that could be the difference in the tournament at the end of the day. And it's not really something that's in the front of your mind, and it shouldn't be on a Sunday, but you're like, I just make that basically a tap in, and this tournament could, like, if you would have lost by one, you look back on that and you kick yourself for years. But you know, you really can't know what Sunday looks like if you do make that putt. It's kind of the chain reaction of things. So I'm happy for him. He's not my favorite dude. One of our buddies, Jamesy, just loves to, every time Jordan Spieth plays well, he's in our group chat like, Spieth this, Spieth that. And that makes me dislike him even more, just because I like to talk shit to James. So whatever. Cool for him.
Well, he does get on his caddy, Michael Greller, a lot, and I'm sure caddying for Jordan's not the easiest job on tour for sure. But just listening to, they do have great dialogue. I love the dialogue, and I feel like, I don't know if it's just the cameras are following him because he's more of a high profile player, but I feel like the dialogue between him and his caddy gets out a lot. And like, there was one moment on, I believe, Saturday, he's like coming in, and it was so windy that he's like, I can't hit the shot. And so Greller was just like, well, just wait until you can. And that's like what you know, like caddying is, obviously you have to know the golf course inside and out. And these guys that are traveling with the same player, I think it's more about knowing your player. You know, like the caddies have, I'm sure they just get filled with information from wherever they can find it. And that's part of their job, is going out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finding the necessary information. But it's just like an NBA coach or NHL.
It's managing a player.
Yeah, it's managing your player and his emotions and taking it, you know, like I mean, he made probably what, 100K this week, maybe 150K.
At least 150.
Yeah, at least 150K.
I mean, yeah, no, he's made he's made more than some tour players have in the last 5 years, so he's doing just fine. But I would almost equate caddying for Jordan Spieth like just we've all had. I mean, at least speaking for me, and I know you too. We've had those crazy girlfriends where it's like they just like freak out, and you just have to like somehow like rein them in. You're like, oh my God, we're doing this again. Like Jordan Spieth, I can't hit the shot. Don't fucking hit the shot then. Yeah. Like it's not that hard to just.
I can't eat this burger. Don't eat the fucking burger.
Exactly. I haven't eaten all day. Fucking eat something. Like really, that just blows my mind. Like that's how Spieth operates. He's so dependent, and like I get leaning on your caddy, but at the same time, you got to this point without him. Like you can have an independent thought on the golf course. So that's where he kind of bugs me too, dude, where just like that example you gave, it's like, dude, just, yeah, don't hit the shot then. And I bet Greller is always wearing sunglasses. He's probably rolling his fucking eyes half the time. He's like, you kidding me with this dude? He's stepping off, like all his antics and everything, and watching his practice swing makes me want to throw up. So
well, is Greller was famous before Spieth, right?
No, he was a fucking school teacher in Washington. Quick story time for those of you who don't know. He was a school teacher in Washington, and I think he'd caddied I think he was just caddying out at Chambers Bay, and somebody recommended Spieth or Greller for Spieth at the U.S. Amateur that they hosted out there while he was in Texas, or at Texas. And so Greller caddied for him, and they just like hit it off right off the bat. And then when Spieth got on tour, Greller was just his guy.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I mean, Greller probably went from making $50K a year to a multimillionaire in the last 10 years. I don't think he foresaw his life taking the turn that it has. But he's got to deal with Jordan Spieth, so it's kind of I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd trade him for sure. Like, I would listen to the bullshit. Like, that's without question. But yeah, Greller's story is really cool, and I could see him. I don't know. I could see him and Spieth kind of being like a Bones and Phil type deal down the road, where eventually Greller's like, I can't do this shit anymore. Like. And it's after he's made millions and millions. Because even when Spieth won the FedEx Cup, Greller had a $1.5 million payday. Because Spieth won the $15 million bonus when he won the FedEx. So Greller's probably made, in the last 10 years, $4 or $5 million. And that's probably, yeah, I would say in that ballpark. So pretty damn good.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah.
How about Jordan Spieth's wife carrying their fucking kid
like
around?
A football?
Yeah, dude. It was straight up looked like
a DB, like running through like carrying like a loaf of bread.
Dude, that thing's head was just like...
Oh, I know.
I was like kind of scared when I watched that.
Yeah, concussion protocol potentially.
So what's better, that situation or the Scheffler situation with his wife from last week that you hated on? Are you over that yet?
I'm not really over it. I still think everybody's like, oh, I cried on my wife's arm the night before or the morning of, saying I couldn't do it. Like, dude, you've won 3 times in the last 5 weeks. I think you can do it, man. Like, I don't know that. And everybody's like, oh, I just love getting this insight. Give me a break. That's the thing with the PGA Tour. And I was actually just thinking about this morning. There's so few like actual real feel good stories on the PGA Tour, because all these kids are just silver spooners. Like, they have to like manufacture shit. So it's like, oh, rich white girl meets rich white boy at rich Texas college. They fall in love. He wins multiple times on the PGA Tour. What is this? The comebacks? There's no tough area to deal with like that. You know what I mean? So they try to like manufacture these narratives like, oh, Scheffler's wife, like, yeah, she doesn't work. She's at every tour event he's playing at. Of course you're gonna lean on her. Like, and it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, their relationship's nice, this and that, but don't blow it up into something it's not. So clearly I'm not over that, long story short.
No.
I actually thought the baby carrying was pretty funny. Like, just zero fucks. Like, she just runs out there. I think it was one arm. Like, at least that thing's a newborn. You got to cradle that, right? I'm not super familiar, but you got to do something. You got to keep its head up.
Yeah, there's something
and
with
that thing's head was just bobbling. Like,
yeah, you can't. You can't like.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like one of these puppies back here.
You can't let it go around like that.
Yeah, that was not the best thing I saw.
I mean, maybe she should have handed it off.
Yeah, I would definitely hand it to a parent, to something like that. But then you want to get him in the shot too, because that's.
Oh yeah, that's.
How cool would it be, like 15 years from now, to watch, like, if you're Jordan Spieth's son, to watch that video? Like, there's baby me. My dad just won on the PGA Tour for the 12th time, whatever. Made $1 million, $2 million, and I'm just there chilling. And then I'd question my mom's love for me after I watched the way she carried me out there. But I just think that would be really cool. And Jordan kind of spoke on that in his post-round interview. He was like, yeah, this will be something that I'll be able to show my son years from now, and I think it'll be a really, really cool memory. So I did like that. That was pretty cool.
His name is Sammy. His son's name is Sammy Spieth.
That's pretty cool.
That's a pretty dope name.
Like
Love that.
Samuel, is that
just Google's giving me SAMMY.
Okay. Yeah, that's at least it's not something crazy. Like it's pretty vanilla.
Yeah,
like,
it's a pretty
if it ain't
normal.
broke, don't fix it kind of thing. It's not Apple. It's not some weird out of left field kind of name. So I don't mind that.
We'll take that. Normal. So is Jordan all right? You're gonna hate this even more. Okay. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but I'm gonna say it. Well, I'm allowed to say it, but I don't think it's that bad. I think Jordan Spieth is Jesus, dude. And here's why.
Easter?
He's won on Easter 2 years in a row.
He's
risen on Easter. That's pretty fucking crazy, to be honest.
And everybody, now the narrative starts of the Masters being on Easter next year.
Put your bets in. Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook, Jordan Spieth 2023
There's
Masters.
no way they have a line. Do you think they have a line out for next year's Masters?
I bet you can find one somewhere.
I mean, yeah.
He's literally won on Easter 2 years in a row. That's got to be... Well,
I think you got to put some sort of denomination relative to like 12/25, like his birthday, December 25th. That's Jesus' birthday, right?
Right.
Yeah, Christmas.
Oh, okay. When is Jordan's... If Jordan Spieth's birthday is on Christmas... We're gonna.
I think it is in December for some reason. I could be completely off base. I have about an 8.5% chance.
It's July 27th.
Oh, couldn't be further.
Couldn't be further from December. Either way, both sides. You were pretty hosed there.
Really close.
I honestly think that's insane to think about, because you know what I didn't know? I didn't know Easter is just random.
You didn't?
No, like I thought.
I never know what day Easter is, but it's definitely not the same day every year.
Well, I understand
it can be like the end of March or like the third week of April.
It's always a Sunday, but
well, yeah, it's always a Sunday.
I mean, I'll have to have somebody explain that to me of why, who decides that.
So I'm going to Catholic classes.
Oh, yeah, stepping in.
And it all depends on the 40-day resurrection of Jesus. It's called, I forget the name, but it all depends on what day that week is Ash Wednesday. And Ash Wednesday varies.
Okay.
Depending on when the Bible's being read at church.
Okay.
It has to be like, if they read the 3 books that they need to read for the Bible that year, that's when they do at the end of that one, and it always ends up in the same time.
Holy shit, we're learning some.
I still don't exactly get it.
Neither do
But
I.
who?
For like 6-7 months now, and I still don't know.
Yeah. Needs to study a little harder.
You're
but
like, so when's Easter again?
So who decides it?
It's all depending on what the church says.
Okay.
Is when the last book is going to be read that week, that year.
Okay.
So they read 3 Catholic books.
Okay, but they plan this multiple years in advance, or at least a year in advance, because like we already know when next Easter
I
is.
think they plan it multiple years.
Okay.
And then I've also heard that they just do the third Sunday of every year.
That's what I thought too. And then last year was
It's like
early April before the Masters. That's when Spieth won at the Valero Texas Open. This year,
it's like when
after the Masters.
It's like when the PGA Tour releases sites and dates for like future majors. They're like, breaking: the Catholic Church just announced the 2053 Easter will be April 17th.
Maybe that should be more of a thing.
Like, why is that not on Twitter? I feel like that should blow up. Like, why? When is Easter 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Is that Yaya? Could you look that up and see how like?
I'll get the exact explanation for you guys.
If we haven't gone
like
off
and
the
how
rails
far
before, this is
and how far
completely
out
fucked.
like they can say when Easter is. You know what I mean?
So it's the first Sunday after the full moon that occurs on or after the spring equinox.
Okay.
So the moon decides.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man, they brainwash.
Is that
That's incredible. That's actually like we
so
learned something
is that
today.
like moon signs? What is that? Like I'm a Pisces. What is the?
No, that's based on months.
Yeah, that's based on when you were born.
Isn't that have to do with the moon though?
It can if you want. You have to go in, like,
Holy shit!
you have to know like what time you were born, what day you were born.
Is this a golf podcast anymore?
I don't think so.
You need to get Susie on it for her to talk about it.
You all know when Easter is and why it is when it is now. Fucking, you're welcome.
Yeah, I just look at the calendar and when it says it's Easter, it's Easter.
All right, so wrapping that all back up, Jordan Spieth, Masters 2023 champion on Easter Sunday. He doesn't lose on Easter. He rises.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a crazy stat, too, that between the Masters and the British Open for him, he's made, in all of his appearances, he's made, like, 85% of the cuts between those two. He's got 2 wins and, like, 8 top 10s in his career just at those 2 events.
Damn, so he's a big, like, April-May guy.
Yeah,
Or
well,
midsummer guy.
yeah.
Because the Masters is always April, first weekend in April.
I think it's just his game. Like he's always said that Augusta is his favorite tournament, it's his favorite venue. But then he's got that Texas wind ball, and I don't know if now he's hitting that big old balloon cut. I don't know how well that's going to hold up at the British Open or the Open Championship. Excuse me. We'll see how he fares with this new swing thought. Does anybody care if should I technically tell people what
No,
he's
like
doing?
I'm curious as to if you think he's progressing from where he used. Well, because he never really won tournaments without by his golf swing. Like he's not Victor Hovland. He's not somebody that strikes the ball. Like he's no Will Zalatoris.
Yeah.
Somebody that strikes the ball well. So is he making progress currently from where he was at to where? Is he trying to go somewhere else? Like is he in?
He's going in a different
right now?
direction. I would honestly, if I was personally teaching him, which obviously I'm not, his position at the top, his old position at the top, was completely fine. It was a very good position, but his move in transition is what he's trying to change. He wouldn't have had to change his position at the top. He just needed to change his transition, what he was trying to do there. And it has to do with the shaft pitch because he's getting in a real laid off position and he's getting his hands pretty deep behind him. So in order to do that, you'll see him rehearse that over the top, that little bit of casting move. And that's because his hands are getting too far behind him. So he's actually steepening the shaft in transition. And that's causing even more ball striking woes than his old swing did because he used to get stuck a little bit behind him at the top. And that was all to do with his left hip sliding forward in transition, his spine tilting back, his hands dropping, and getting caught too far inside. He would have been fine staying where he was at the top if he would have just got his hands moving more out at the top of the backswing versus dropping vertically. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So
when I slide my hip forward, that's just Shank City. Every fucking
But that's
time.
because your club face is open, but I bet your path's inside out.
Right.
So his path was definitely inside out. And that's why he's made all his money hitting a draw up until this season. And now he's trying to work away from that. But the way he's gone about it, and Shaheen, the instructor I was talking about earlier, has definitely touched on that on multiple different social media accounts. Just about how it's not as efficient because but that's the thing is with PGA Tour athletes, Tiger played his best golf with Hank Haney, and Hank Haney doesn't know shit from apple butter. Honestly, that guy's ruined more golf careers than he's helped. And I think I can say that pretty confidently. And Tiger had the best years of his career with Hank Haney. So when you get these athletes that are just that good that they can even hear the wrong thing and still succeed, it doesn't mean they're necessarily getting, that doesn't mean they're getting better. It just means they're doing it in spite of that. Like,
right. It's like Steve Kerr being a good NBA coach.
Exactly.
Same fucking story.
Exactly.
How you not going to win with
you
Draymond,
plant him
Steph,
on the sideline,
Clay, and Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I bet it was a tough job.
Exactly. So them overhauling his swing was fairly unnecessary because he was one of the better iron strikers. He never drove it that well, but one of the better ball strikers, like approach-wise, on tour when he was out there. I mean, his putter is always the best part of his game. But, yeah, I don't think that the switch was necessary by any means, and he's still playing really well in spite of that. So I guess it's kind of working for him. But that weird laid-off position at the top is completely unnecessary for what he's trying to accomplish.
Okay, got it. Did you hear that? Did everybody get that? No, but that's good. Like, it's interesting because everybody thinks that, like, when you kind of, like, watch the PGA Tour as a casual fan, you don't think about, like, how much goes into them, like, still changing their swings. Everybody's like, oh, they don't have to change anything. They're all that good. They just depends upon if they have a good week doing this or that. And especially Jordan, and there's other players out there that are working on things, and that's why they go into slumps, or that's why they go into a slump, and then they need to even go deeper into a slump to get out of it.
Well, yeah, and there's definitely the other side of it from an instruction standpoint where Spieth is definitely very loyal to Cameron McCormick, his instructor, since I think he was a teenager before he even went to college. So he's been with this dude for forever. And I you really never know, but McCormick could be like, I feel like I'm getting a little bit like, not worn out, but I need something fresh to give him. And so he goes, well, let's make this change. And if Spieth wanted to hit a cut, like I said, he could have gone about it in a completely different manner. Actually, his old hand position at the top, shockingly enough, is more efficient for hitting a cut than his hand position at the top is right now, where he's trying to hit a cut. His hand position at the top right now is more like Rory's, and Rory is notoriously inside out. So he's actually hindering himself by getting his hands at the top where he is right now. So it's just a very weird thing. Like, I mean, obviously he's paid McCormick an assload of money. McCormick's like, do I want to lose this guy? Like, because in all honesty, I would either tell him something different or tell him to talk to somebody else. And obviously you're not going to do that when you're making millions of dollars off this guy. So he kind of manufactured something to the best of his ability. And I'm not going to instructor shame. Like, everybody has their different stuff. And it's just weird, like, how he's gone about it. And it pretty unnecessary, honestly. Like, there is a much easier fix. And I'm not the end-all, be-all, know-it-all, whatever. But there's a much easier, simpler fix to what he's doing right now, to hit a cut and to improve his ball striking and controlling his low point than the change that he made to his swing where it currently is. So,
yeah. So Jordan Spieth, shout out to you, because you are
just kind of drug you for a minute, but
we got a little comment here. So maybe an unnecessary change gave him some confidence to do something different on the course. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Weird rant given he just caught a dub. Yeah, I catch, just like I just said, he can be really good. He can be very talented and still not be like necessarily moving his swing in the right direction for the long term. Like, there's two separate things there. So, I mean, yeah, whatever. And it is a mental game too. Like, if it gives him more confidence, then of all things, that could be what propelled him more than his swing itself. So that's a possibility, but it's tit for tat, to each their own. I just don't really like how he's going about it. So
yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. All right, moving into a little bit about Morgan Hoffman. So this is a story that I don't know if you guys caught it this week. They talked a little bit about it on some of the broadcasts. He had the joggers on.
Yeah, we touched on it.
We've touched on it before. We're going to kind of, not a deep dive. We're not analysts here, but kind of just go into a little bit about Morgan Hoffman. And he kind of, to me, is at least proved he belongs back on the PGA Tour now. Like it's not some like stunt comeback story where he shot 79, 80 and is all of a sudden out of every. You know what I mean?
Oh,
just for an actual feel good story.
Oh yeah, exactly. This is like a real actual feel good story. So Morgan Hoffman was a really really good amateur, coming out of Oklahoma State.
World number 1 amateur.
Yeah, he was very very good in college. Came out on the PGA Tour. He still hasn't won on the PGA Tour. But I want to say he was out there for 4 or 5 seasons. Don't quote me on that. But he had some strong showings. And then he started losing all this weight and having this... I can't remember the exact symptoms, but he wasn't feeling right. He didn't know if he was eating something wrong. His body just didn't feel right. So he went around to these... He was getting weaker and weaker. Couldn't keep muscle on. Like he was eating more and more, things like that. And he traveled around to like 50 specialists across the country looking for answers as to what he had, because nobody could pinpoint exactly what was going on with his body. It's like one of the rare, I think what one doctor pinpointed it down to was a very rare form of muscular dystrophy, where his body is kind of like breaking down slowly at a very young age. I mean, he's still in his 20s. So knowing that, he went away completely because I think he just got tossed around by so many doctors, and everybody wanted to be the person to have the cure and to diagnose it, you know? So he pretty much went off grid, moved to Puerto Rico, left the tour, him and his wife. And this is an actual like supporting a guy when he's got nothing. Like, respect, shout out Morgan Hoffman's wife.
Like, this is a lot tougher than Scotty Scheffler's current life
exactly
situation.
Like, yeah, she's already got her Range Rover picked out, but whatever. Morgan Hoffman's wife moves down to Costa Rica to live in a yurt, or I'm sorry, Puerto Rico. I think it's Puerto. Will you Google that?
Yeah, we'll find out.
I get Puerto Rico and Costa Rica confused. Once again, not a geography podcast. But he moved down. I think it's Costa Rica.
We are looking.
Anyway, let me know. So he moves into this yurt, goes completely off grid for 2 years, and basically does like this deep dive into Western medicine, like old. I think is it called Western medicine? Is that like the really old school like holistic way?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. So he does this deep dive into this all this Western medicine. He does all these different cleanses. He tries basically everything natural he possibly can, and he's actually found that he has improved himself through all this research he's done, through these different cleanses. And if you read the article by Dan, I think Dan Rappaport did it, but he does talks about all the different cleanses he does, and the two that stick out in my mind, and maybe they're the only two he talked about, I can't remember, but one, and I'm not kidding, he drank his own, he consumed nothing for 2 weeks but his own urine.
This is the Aaron Rodgers scenario.
Yeah.
It's basically the same shit that Aaron Rodgers
but
did.
Completely different. Like, Aaron Rodgers just has too much money and time on his hands. Like, Morgan Hoffman was actually...
Costa Rica.
Okay, thank you. Took you long enough. Whatever. So he consumed nothing but his own urine for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know what exactly that does, but that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's like a full... I guess you got to drink water, right?
I would think so.
Because you couldn't create any of that if you...
I mean, eventually you go from peeing every 30 minutes to on the 14th day you got 1 cup that you just keep peeing out and drinking again.
Yeah, that sounds pretty...
I don't know if he consumed water or not, because
He would have to, dude. You can't... I don't think you can constantly
But
your
there's
body...
water in your urine technically.
That's true. I guess maybe you started out, you get yourself going.
Yeah, maybe he had a 2-day prep where he just borderline drowned himself. Just drank so much water, and then just drink your own pee for 2 weeks. So, bold strategy by him. Not sure exactly what that does. I'm not going to knock it because I don't know anything about it. But then another cleanse he did, and I don't know exactly how this worked because he said he went to the grocery store. He did this in Florida, actually. He was doing these, I think he was doing these when he wasn't off grid. He was down in Florida living with a couple of his tour buddies before he went off grid, like trying to figure out his own shit. Because he said he went to the grocery store and bought every single blueberry they had at Whole Foods. And he ate nothing but blueberries for 2 weeks. And that was another cleanse. Like, I have no idea what that is either.
Yeah.
Like, I think I could see more benefits to blueberries than your own urine, but I still don't know how it necessarily benefits you. So, but those are definitely some odd things that he's done. And more power to you. You want to go do your own thing, figure your own body out. But long story short, he went off grid, basically fended for himself for 2 years with his wife in a yurt in the forest in Costa Rica. And what a better time to do it than during COVID.
Yeah, I wonder if he knew any of that was going on. Probably not.
Probably not. How fire would that be? You missed the 2 worst years in world history.
Yeah, I mean, they probably weren't easy for him, though.
Well, I'd rather live off grid than live with COVID.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Probably right.
I'd rather go hunt and gather than drink every night just profusely and play video games and hate myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
Super fair.
Definitely two sides to that coin.
Yeah.
And plus it was a choice.
Right. Yeah, when you get to choose to do something.
He didn't run out of money and had to build himself a tent in the forest. Like, this was a conscious choice of his to go do this. But now he's got a medical exemption. He's still got a few more, I think, what do you get, 4 starts? Don't quote me on that either, but you get a certain amount of starts when you come back off of a medical exemption. So he used his first start this week at the RBC Heritage, and he made the cut.
Yeah, he was playing on the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I think he ended up finishing a couple over par, right around even par. So he did pretty well, all things considered. And he's rocking a man bun. He's looking like very El Natural, like kind of the Cam Smith, like very sandy, washed up beach vibes. You know, like he just got off a surfboard. And he also, him and Luke Donald, and I think maybe one other tour player, own Grayson Clothiers, the clothing company that now Justin Thomas is sponsored by.
Oh, cool.
So they started that.
Yeah, because I saw him rocking that logo, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. He got a sponsorship, but
Yeah,
he actually
no.
just owns it.
Yeah, so they used to own it. I think it was Morgan Hoffman by himself who started a clothing company 5-6 years ago called Grey Wolf Clothing, and the logo was sick. Like, they made these loafers, and they looked like the Gucci loafers, but they had like a wolf logo on the foot. They were fire. But then I think he got some investors, including Luke Donald, PGA Tour player, and now it's just called Grayson.
Oh, he actually did miss the cut.
Oh, he did?
+1.
Oh,
Missed it by a stroke.
oh, you hate to see
But
that.
he's come back from way worse, so I'm sure.
Yeah, and
it'll
it
be
really
cool.
does, like, the cool part is it kind of puts things in perspective for him, being where he's been and realizing that golf is by far not the biggest thing in his life. His life is much bigger. Literally, his life is a lot bigger than golf is. So really cool for him to make that comeback. And the cool part is either way, if he keeps his card or doesn't keep his card, he's going to be all right because he's cool with the person he is and where he's at with his life and his health, things like that. So, I mean, that's an actual feel-good PGA Tour story that I can get behind.
Well, and some kind of cool Colorado connection for him is the last time he was kind of on the map, not literally, but like on people's radar in the PGA Tours, he shot 62-63 at Cherry Hills
Did
in
he
the
really?
2014 BMW to finish solo third.
Holy shit, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it feels like it was like 2
Yeah,
years
it does
ago.
not feel that long ago.
But yeah, the at the BMW Championship at Cherry Hills, he shot 2 weekend rounds of a total of, well, I believe they played that at 71 probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
8 under, 9 under.
yeah, I mean,
17
still
under.
still impressive for the weekend, and especially at Cherry Hills and in a tournament that like not a lot of pros were ready to play because it's altitude and stuff like that. But
maybe that's why they pulled the BMW from Cherry. Like they saw Morgan shoot 17 under on the weekend,
and they're
like, we got to move this shit. This is too easy.
This is too easy. We can't be having fucking guys.
We can't be having the last guy to get into this field shoot 17 under on the weekend. And the thing is, you do that and you don't win. I can't even remember what the winning score was, but it must have been disgusting.
Oh yeah,
for a PGA or for the playoffs, like that's too low.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
No, so that's why Cherry Hills is made irrelevant again by a distance.
Yep. Colorado golf, as fun as it is for us, it's
if it ain't 8,000 yards, it's not going to be here.
No, it's not. So as we talked about earlier, NBA playoffs are here. We're going to get into basically turning NBA playoff teams into professional PGA Tour golfers. But before we talk about that, we got to tell you guys about DraftKings and the NBA playoffs. So you can get into the first round action at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, all new customers can bet $5 on any team to win, and you get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also hop in on hoops with same-game parlays. You can parlay a bunch of things together and watch just one game, and you get a bigger payout and a bigger win if you hit it. So I love doing same-game parlays, especially on like the Nuggets and like just Jokic everything over. Nuggets winning, tonight. You're getting some good juice on that. So plus each day of the first round, you get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. So you do a $10 same-game parlay, you're essentially getting a free bet back if it doesn't hit. And if it hits, you're making $30, $40 in actual money. Or if not, you just go back the next day. I'm actually going to, after this podcast is over, I'm going to go down and put myself a nice little same-game parlay in. So make sure you guys all do that and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code DNVR, and when you bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round, you get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only, minimum of a $5 deposit. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. On to NBA playoff teams as professional golfers. You want to kick it off? We'll go 1 through, or should we go 8 to 1?
Yeah, let's go 8 to 1.
You want to take the West and I'll take the East? How do you want to do this?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take the West. Go ahead and kick it off.
All right, so I'm taking the 8 seed in the East. And this is actually kind of funny, relates to what we talked about today. So the 8 seed in the East, we're going with the Atlanta Hawks. They're playing the Miami Heat. They got blown out the other night. But I thought about the Atlanta Hawks, and I thought Trae Young. That's kind of the first guy that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Worst fucking hair in the world. This guy, I don't know what this fucking guy's doing. I don't know who his friends are, but this is the fucking worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, his hair
I'm
is
like, dude,
something.
That literally looks like it's somebody's shitty garden trying to grow out of dirt that you're not watering. Like, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's bad. Like, shave your head, wear a headband,
take it all the way
make it a mohawk, do whatever. But
don't make it a mohawk.
I don't know, but do something different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it needs to be. My hair's horrible too. I'll admit that. I have a fucking mullet. I understand my hair is not good.
If you're on national TV rocking the shit you rock, I would slander you
exactly
up and down.
And I deserve the slander because my hair's not good. But that's the thing is, like, people get offended when I make fun of their hair because they're like, look at your hair. And I'm like, I know my shit's bad. You think yours is good. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you don't look at yours. I mean, sometimes your mullet like looks on point with a hat, but
by itself, I'm bald on top.
Yeah,
like,
I'm definitely losing it up there too. So
I wear a hat like 99% of the time, and if I'm not, I'm probably sleeping.
Golf pro.
I'm probably sleeping. That's literally the only, or at a wedding. That's literally the only 2 reasons I don't wear a hat. I tried to wear a hat to my own wedding. My wife ixnayed that pretty quick. But
it's rough.
Relating this to a PGA Tour player, there's some guys with some pretty rough hair. We would never ever slander Cam Smith. His hair is a beaut.
Well, and he's got a good hairline.
Yeah, but this guy, our winner from this week, Jordan Spieth,
Captain Comb Over,
absolutely horrible.
You see him doing like this move like all the time, like moving it into his cul-de-sacs. Like, it's bad. Him and Justin Thomas, like the two, and I don't know. maybe they're doing like some like low key hair plugs. Like they're not making it super obvious that they got hair plugs. I mean, they obviously have the money to do that, but it's kind of like a respect thing. Like, do you own it? Kind of like Dave Portnoy owns it with the hair plugs. Everybody knows he has hair plugs. Or do you deny? And you're like, no, it's just somehow I've been taking these pills and my hair just regrew. Which doesn't, I don't think it works, honestly. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think so. And I think Jordan Spieth actually did get it fixed somehow, because I don't see him, or does he not even take his hat off anymore?
I don't think he does. You try to Google I'll try to Google Jordan Spieth hat off.
I bet it's already in his brain, thinking about like if he wins the Masters again, the Masters ceremony. Because I remember when he did win it, just him like pushing his hair. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, let's pull that up.
The beauty of having a producer. Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, you draw that all the way back. Whew,
that looks like me. That's actually makes me feel like kind of like shit.
Do you feel attacked? I think, yeah, it kind of does. Like, if I didn't
have this like luscious locks coming out of the back,
I mean,
the top is bad.
Yeah.
My top is horrible.
I think he can definitely relate. So, yeah, that was a pretty good comp, I would say there. For number 8 in
number
the
8
East,
in the East.
the Hawks.
Moving on to 8 in the West.
Was it the T-Wolves?
No, they're the 7.
They're
the
8
in the West is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans.
The New Orleans Pelicans. They're young. They're exciting. God, now, do you have any ideas? I'm trying to remember. We did discuss this earlier. Who did we say?
A young, exciting, like up-and-coming team, but hasn't won anything.
Oh, wow, this is great live content right here. Did we say Will Zalatoris? No, he was a different.
No, it was Will Zalatoris. Like, super young, like hasn't won, has gotten very close to winning, but hasn't
and he's
solidified
fun to watch.
himself
He's on
yet.
the come up. Okay, yes, Will Zalatoris. I would definitely there's a few guys that fall into that category, but Will is definitely one of those guys where you know it's coming. And same with the Pelicans. As long as they somehow work that out, what a weird situation that is. But if they keep McCollum long term and their other pieces, Brandon Ingram, I mean they've got a lot of really good core. Is Lonzo Ball there, or where is he now? Chicago?
Yeah, he's definitely not there.
Okay,
I don't know where he is though.
Okay,
Chicago,
never mind then. He was in New Orleans last year. I don't know what I know less about golf or basketball.
CJ McCollum, like they've got Ingram, they've got Herb Jones. It's a fun team.
No, it's
a good team.
fun,
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, and McCollum's not young, but most of their team's pretty young. And I mean, Zion is kind of like Will Zalatoris' putter. If it comes back, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Will Zalatoris' putting stroke, check that shit out in slow-mo because it's bad. It is not good. And he's gone to like the arm lock. He's gone in multiple directions, and it's got to be a mental thing for him because there's nothing that's making that better. Like maybe he starts putting left-handed or something because he's one of the best ball strikers on tour statistically right now. Like, and I think he's 24. So I definitely think that he will win if he can just catch a hot week, getting the putter hot, or not even hot, just good, just not horrible. I think he will have
mediocre PGA Tour
I think he'll have
level.
some good success down the line. So that is my pick for number 8 in the West.
Moving on to the 7 seed in the East, the Brooklyn Nets, Jon Rahm. This is the most perfect comp ever because Jon Rahm, if you log into your DraftKings Sportsbook and you look at the odds for every single PGA Tour event, who's number 1 if he's playing? And his odds are plus 900, plus 800, whatever. Something disgusting for a golf tournament.
Guess how many times he's won this year?
0.
Yeah.
And this is not saying the Brooklyn Nets are not going to, they're fully healthy and full go. They're a damn good team. Fully healthy and full go. Jon Rahm's a damn good player, but everybody talks about him all the time.
And I wonder how many games the Nets have been favored in this year because they lost a shitload of games.
Yeah, they had to fucking fight in a play-in just to get the playoffs.
Yeah, so they're definitely not what we would call elite. But that's a perfect comp because Rahm has the potential to win every week. The Nets have the potential to win every single game they play. If you look at their roster, other than a few, they kind of went the Lakers route with a few washed up guys like Andre Drummond's not an ideal center.
Blake Griffin.
He
doesn't play that much.
If he was on the Nuggets, I would love him. I was pulling to get him to Denver, but that's because I was desperate. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So they definitely went a little old. But I do like what Steve Nash is doing. Imagine he's doing the Lord's work, dealing with Kyrie shit and Kevin Durant. And I actually like Kevin more than Kyrie. Kevin's just kind of says whatever he wants, does whatever he wants, but Kyrie is just off the handle. So Steve Nash, I think, is doing a pretty good job managing those egos out there in Brooklyn.
Oh, 100%. Not an easy job there.
No.
Moving on to 7th seed in the West, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Patrick Reed. That was probably the quickest when we were talking about this earlier. That was the first one that popped into my head personally because I hate the Timberwolves and I hate Patrick Reed. They're not likable. The best way to put it is about 10% of the population likes them and about 90% doesn't.
Yeah, and 10% of that population is all residing in Minnesota.
Correct. Yeah, and I mean Patrick Reed is probably even less liked than the Minnesota Timberwolves, but that was just first thing I thought. I was like, who do I not like? And Patrick Beverly, Patrick Reed, verbal meme, handshake, douchebags. I just don't like those guys.
That's a good one. Moving on to your 6th seed in the East, the Chicago Bulls. And a guy that came to mind is Stuart Sink. He's randomly winning tournaments again. The Bulls are randomly good again and haven't been good since Jordan. I mean, that's a lie. They were okay with
the
Derrick
Rose years. Yeah.
But
kind of Sink hadn't won in 12 years. He won twice in 2021, hadn't won in 12 years before that.
Yeah. So the Bulls are back on the scene.
They're kind of back.
They've tailed off considerably, and now they have to face Giannis and the Bucks, which is no easy task when they're going for 2 championships in a row. But it was kind of okay, the Bulls were, Stuart Sink was winning tournaments forever ago. Now all of a sudden he's winning tournaments again. Yeah. The Bulls are winning basketball games again.
I think it's good for the NBA when the Bulls are good. They're just look at CHGO and the numbers that they do on everything. They've got one of the most passionate cities for sports in America, bar none. Between the Blackhawks, the Bulls, even the Bears, and they're fucking putrid. They're terrible. So, when the CHGO guys are doing numbers on Bears podcasts and they're in the basement of their division, of their conference, that they've got a pretty passionate fan base. So, respect to the Bulls. I like seeing them back. So now we're going to the 6th in the West. Our beloved Denver Nuggets. Not the greatest showing for them night 1 against Golden State. We're looking to bounce back tonight. That'll happen. But if I had to pinpoint a player that first came to mind, and it goes back to health, is Jason Day. Because Jason Day, there for a while when he was healthy, was one of the best players in the world. The Nuggets, fully healthy, one of the best teams in the NBA, bar none. But health is a major factor. And availability is a major factor. So Jason Day was the first guy that came into my mind. And hopefully next year we see both the Nuggets and Day back healthy, because I think Jason Day's good for golf. He was a big name for a long time, so it'd be good to see him back doing making some moves on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, him in majors is fun. He's just
he's a big game hunter, kind of he shows up until he gets vertigo and passes out in the fairway.
Yeah,
weird.
Exactly.
I don't know if he needs to get his ears suctioned out or, isn't that a thing? When you get water in one ear and it can give you vertigo.
100%. Yeah.
Didn't Kylie have that?
Yeah, I think so. She has some nausea issues. So
okay. Yeah, I think
we haven't quite pinpointed them yet. Moving on to
5 in the East.
5 seed in the East, the Toronto Raptors, and this is a team that's just
well,
solid.
you had to go Canadian.
Yeah, and it's just solid. You can't pinpoint why they're great. They don't have any players.
They did win a championship.
No, they did, but that's because of Kawhi Leonard. who's one of the greatest players in maybe the history of the NBA. I don't know if that's a little bit of overreaction, could be. But Corey Connors, this dude from Canada as well. Every tournament you turn around, he's there. Again. I don't know why we just don't auto bet him to top 10 or top 20 every tournament, because it seems like everyone he's in, he's there.
It feels like he's in the mix.
And that's how the
week.
Raptors are right now. Like, Nick Nurse is maybe the best coach in the NBA. And he is awesome. And they just have all this talent. As sad as it is to see, Masai Ujiri's their GM who left the Nuggets.
Yep.
And he just churns out talent. They just churn out wins, and they make the playoffs, and they're just dangerous.
Really well.
And they're dangerous. So
yep.
Corey Connors, Toronto Raptors, that's my comparison.
I like that one. So now we're going 5 in the West here, which is
the Utah Jazz.
Oh God. The Utah Jazz, the first thing that pops into my mind is I had to go somebody from Utah because that's just fitting, and it actually pretty much works, is Tony Finau, because every year they're just a very talented team. They've got all the pieces. They've got shooters. They've got Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, who's pretty good at defense. Whatever.
He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, though.
Oh,
Marcus Smart did.
Did he really? Mm-hmm. Good for him. Good for Marcus Smart. Hate Rudy Gobert. Don't really like Donovan Mitchell either.
We do like Tony Finau, though.
Yeah, Finau's
This
awesome.
is not a hate-based pick.
This is Finau. I love Finau. Hate the Jazz, but they've got all this upper talent. Like, they've got a very high ceiling. Like, Finau can move it unbelievable lengths. When he gets hot with the putter, he can win, but he still has yet to really break through wins-wise. Like, he's made $25 million on the PGA Tour, and he has 2 wins. So it's kind of based on the lack of winning. Come playoff time, come crunch time. Finau, Utah Jazz, I like that one.
All right, yeah, that's a solid one. Although we do like Tony Finau, definitely do not like the Utah Jazz. 4 seed in the East, we've got the Philadelphia 76ers.
Ugh.
Bryson DeChambeau, perfect comparison. They're pretty good. They've got public apologists everywhere. Nikola Jokic won another MVP right on top of Embiid's head. And the Philadelphia 76ers are just like one of those teams where everybody just wants to believe they're good, and everybody wants to believe Bryson's good, and they're loud and they're annoying, and they're just never good. So
yeah,
Bryson DeChambeau is he'd be a perfect 76ers fan.
He would.
Annoying, loud, and nobody cares what you have to say.
Yep, 100%. Love that one. So now we're going 4
in the West.
4 in the West, the Mavs. So immediately my head goes to a guy that, and I kind of think because Luka's from Eastern Europe, I think of like European guys. So I think Victor Hovland is a pretty good comparison. I know we had one other guy for that one too that went pretty well, but I'm going with Hovland because with Luka Doncic, the Mavericks are sick. They're dirty. One of the best teams in the league. They can beat anyone. If Victor Hovland can chip and he can have his short game in order, his ball striking week in, week out is really good. He's already won multiple times on the DP World Tour this year, and he's just really solid all the way around. If he has his short game in line, he can definitely win some majors. So Mavs with Luka are the equivalent of Victor Hovland.
With a chip game.
Is it Estonia?
Slovenia.
Okay. Is Estonia just what?
It is a country. Yeah.
Estonia.
It's like north of Latvia.
Okay. Yeah. I was. Yeah. I knew it was. Thank you. Thank you.
But look at that, me answering a fucking geography question correct. That's never been done.
Well, it's technically an NBA
That's never
question.
been done on the show. Never been done on the show.
No,
All right.
it has not.
Into the 3 seed in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's Colin Morikawa, because Colin Morikawa is now winning majors, and he's looking to. Giannis, Colin.
He's broke onto the scene.
Exactly. He's here, and they're here to stay. They have a great roster. Colin Morikawa is pretty good at everything. He blew out the Open Championship last year. He won the PGA 2 years ago. He's repeated. I don't expect the Bucks to repeat, but you never know. Giannis looks pretty unstoppable, and he's just got a switch that he flips. And Colin's the same way. Like, you don't hear about Colin Morikawa in these nonsense bullshit PGA Tour events. Then the majors roll around, you're like, well, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And he was there in the Masters. Nobody was there other than Scotty Scheffler, but in a normal week, he's right there on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's how Colin Morikawa is in the big games when it's time to turn it on, like he always does.
Yep, and he's got that first, now he's got, does he have 2 major wins?
Yeah, he's got a PGA championship. I just said it. Were you fucking not listening?
Well, no, probably not.
PGA championship at
Harding Park, where we've played.
No big deal. Haven't said that before. And then he's got a Open championship.
He won the Open. Yes, that's everything was just so forgettable with no fans. Like I hated it, but okay, yes, love that one. So now we're going to Golden State, number 3 in the West, and being a California guy, I kind of thought this was a little fitting, but they're kind of like Phil Mickelson. They haven't gone completely off the rails politically like he has, but they've had a lot of success in the past, and they're always like, perfect example is Phil coming out of nowhere to win the PGA Championship last year. Like they always have it in them. Like we saw what they did to the Nuggets in Game 1. Clay came out stupid hot. Jordan Poole was in the D League last year, and now he dropped 36. Was it 36? 30 on our head the other night. Like shot the lights out of it. So they always are just that scary like team. You never really know you know what you're going to get a little bit more with the Warriors than you do with Phil Mickelson, but I still think it's a good comp because they're just dirty. They're dirty at certain times, like untouchable. When they're on, they're on. So that was what it came down to, picking Phil with the Warriors.
Moving to the 2 seed in the East, I got the Boston Celtics, and they're just a team that is just super young, super fun, talented everywhere. And when you're thinking
just a blue blood franchise.
Yeah, when you're thinking of a guy like that, it's like a Dustin Johnson. Just like very good at everything.
He's not young, but he parties like he's 18.
Yeah, mentally he's 18. And he's just like super fun to watch, and like, you know, the Celtics were blowing people out. They blew the Nuggets out of their own gym.
Stupid talented.
And Dustin Johnson blew out a Masters. And you rarely ever see that happen in a major event. Shoot 21 under, set the record at Augusta in November, so it's not, you know, asterisk or whatever. But Dustin Johnson's not as young anymore, obviously, but a guy that you know, the Celtics can win any series and win any game, and you expect Dustin Johnson any tournament he's in, as long as he's healthy, you have to at least think about him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's always in the front of everybody's minds, no matter, or in the back at the very least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like that one. So I've got the Memphis Grizzlies. Did we talk about this one? Because they're just a young team. They haven't really done anything yet. They're definitely on the come up. He was kind of along those same Will Zalatoris, Victor Hovland lines. Nobody's popping to like the top of my head. Maybe Joaquin Niemann. You could kind of throw him out there. Like he's a lovable team. He does a lot of things really well. He hasn't really won the big one yet. He's kind of coming onto the scene, but he's super young, super talented, just like the Grizz. And I can definitely foresee them having some success down the road. Maybe not this season, but
they lost Game 1 to the
if they lose to the Timberwolves, I'm going to be sad. Like that is some sad shit. If the Timberwolves get through the second round, we're never going to hear the end of it. From a Nuggets standpoint, I would say.
Absolutely not.
So yeah, that's just something that I won't be able to handle. But yeah, I definitely think that Joaquin Niemann and Memphis kind of assimilate a little bit with that, you know, and just super talented, young, ready to kind of make their next big move.
Yeah, I love that. Love that comparison. My number 1 seed in the East, and it's a team that nobody talks about, it feels like, and somehow they were the 1 seed in the East. And this is a player, Billy Horschel. They're from Florida, so that was a fairly easy, close comparison. But Billy Horschel's been in like every event that he's played in, like but in it, like.
But even if you look at like betting odds, he's always like plus 3, 4, 5,000. Like he's hardly ever up near the favorites.
And nobody talks about him. He's just lame, boring dude. I mean, the Heat are less than boring with their fighting their coaches and their inner squad issues. But Billy Horschel's more of a quiet guy. You don't really, you know, he wins. They don't. They're like, oh, Billy Horschel, FootJoy shoes, same tucked in shirt, fucking looks the same every
Just
week.
pretty vanilla,
but
gets the job done.
Yeah, he's there, and nobody talks
week in,
about
week out. Yep. Well, I wouldn't call the Heat vanilla because Jimmy Butler tried to fight their coach on the sidelines. So I'd say there's a little more turmoil within the Heat organization than there is with Billy Horschel. But, I mean, Billy Horschel's had some issues that we've touched on before, so we'll skirt past that this time. So my number 1 seed in the West, the Phoenix Suns, got to go Scottie Scheffler. Just winning a lot recently. Just burst onto the scene. Devin Booker was nothing before Chris Paul came there, whatever. Not going to shit talk him, but I just did. They're very good recently. I would definitely say they're odds on favorite in my mind to win the championship this year. They're just super deep, very, very talented, top to bottom, and they've just been winning a lot lately, and that is Scottie Scheffler. Just pretty recent, tore it up.
everything.
Yeah, win everything.
2 years ago, one of the worst franchises in the NBA.
2 years ago, Scottie
Scheffler.
Scheffler was a mid-level PGA Tour player.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he
Now
was
he's
also
number 1 in the world.
Exactly. So very quick on their rise to stardom. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, good rankings. You guys have to let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter at Big Drive Energy what you guys think. Who had the better rankings? Now that we're, of course, deep in the end or starting the NBA playoffs, we're knee deep in it. Oh, about to be neck deep in it. Hopefully the Nuggets make a run. NHL playoffs are coming up, so we got a lot. Golf tournament this weekend, fun one. Zurich Classic in New Orleans, two-man teams.
One of two.
No, the only two-man team event.
Well, okay. Well, the QB shootout's also
The only official PGA Tour.
Okay.
two-man team
Okay.
event.
Fair enough. You got me.
So make sure you're checking that out. Tune in to us next week live. It's going to be Tuesday, and make sure you tune in to the Hole-in-One Challenge tomorrow. We'll be out at the Valley of Fun, Spring Valley. We're going to go live on TikTok. We'll have YouTube. We'll have all that stuff there. So we're going to go live about 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you check us out. I think that's us for this week. That's it. Make sure you check out the subscribe and follow on our YouTube, by the way. We need every 250 subscribers we get on our YouTube. We're going to be giving away awesome golf prizes. So make sure to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. If you didn't, well, just leave it alone.
Like and subscribe anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for fun.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Peace.